Am I the asshole for not replacing a spoon that went missing during a work potluck? My 20 female workplace decided to have a potluck and everyone brought a dish. My coworker's 56M, let's call him Dave, wife was kind enough to make 2 huge pans of biryani, crispy onions, and a homemade yogurt, which was delicious. After the potluck, there were leftovers, so we all brought some home, and I guess Dave left everything he brought, including the serving spoons, at work until the next day. After everyone took their leftovers, there was about 2 servings left in 1 tin, so I asked if I could just take the whole tin home. It was one of those Dollarama pans that you throw out after. He gladly said yes. I come in for work the next day, and Dave asked me if I had seen the serving spoon he brought yesterday, and I said no. I helped him look for it in the kitchen, and we couldn't find it, so I said I'd double-check the tin I took home. I get home, and it's not there. He texts me asking about it, and I tell him it's not there. He insists I check again, and I just didn't respond. The next day at work, he asks about it again. Admittedly, I was kind of getting annoyed because it's a spoon. How expensive could it be? I told him I already checked, and I don't have it. He replies, well, what am I supposed to do now? My wife cooked for you guys and sent cutlery, and now it's missing. She's going to be very upset, and she's not going to want to cook for you again. I jokingly responded, I'm not sure what you're going to do. I guess we'll have to buy her a new one if this means no more biryani. And he goes, yeah, you will. He asked about us replacing it later that day, and I said, if you knew your wife would be this upset about a spoon, you should have made sure to round them up and bring them home last night. It's not anyone else's responsibility to replace it. Obviously, it's just a spoon, and I wouldn't mind replacing it, but I have no idea what happened to it. Neither does anyone else, and I feel like his wife's anger isn't our problem. I do feel kind of bad because she was nice enough to make lots of food for us, but I don't see how him leaving the spoons at work and one of them going missing means we should replace it. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole, but ask him to get you a receipt for the spoon so you can decide up the cost. Everyone who was at the party will Venmo him 32 cents. This made me laugh. Great idea. Not the asshole. Has he asked absolutely anyone else in the office? I feel it's really unfair to ask you repeatedly, especially if he hasn't asked anyone else. It was his responsibility to gather things back up, but it was foolish to begin with to send them into the office. Send plastic disposable ones, or if the office has cutlery, there's no need, but don't send something you can't live without. Not the asshole. He should know better than to bring his platinum spoons to work. Things always go missing in group situations like that. He should leave his wife's family heirlooms at home. Not the asshole. If you lost the spoon, or Bob lost the spoon, then I fully understand you or Bob replacing the spoon on your own dime, but no one knows what happened. This falls on Dave. If the utensils were that important, he should have paid better attention, or he should have just not brought the good utensils to a potluck-style event. Am I the asshole for sending my parents on a wild goose chase that almost got to the Canadian border? I, female 27, do not live at home. I do not take money from my parents. I don't really rely on them for anything. I have a job, and I just put a down payment on my first home. My parents think I am a helpless damsel. I had to get the locks changed on my apartment because they had an emergency key that they used randomly. When I asked for it back, they refused. One of my friends recently went on a date with a creepy guy that put an Apple tracker in her car. She has an app that detects them, so she found it and tossed it in the river. I got the app because I am out there dating, and I got concerned after hearing this story. I am seeing someone right now, and it seems to be going well. He seems a decent fellow. Yes, that's a Princess Bride quote. Anyway, I found a tracker on my car. I thought it was the guy. I didn't want to give him any clue that I found it. So I tossed it onto a pallet of produce. My company has headed to Canada. It turns out it wasn't him. I did not go see my parents this last weekend, but went golfing instead. The guy I am seeing called, but I said I was busy. He was cool with it. My parents, on the other hand, called me a dozen times. I said I was golfing. They asked where, and I told them. I put my phone in Do Not Disturb and had fun with my friends. My dad called me from Boise, Idaho to ask why I threw away their tracker. I laughed and said, I would have to apologize to the guy I'm seeing because I assumed it was him doing something that's shady. My parents are upset that I scared them and called me ungrateful for making light of their concerns. So obviously not the asshole. And likewise a funny and well-crafted post. Good job all around. But in the real world, this is grounds for a restraining order. You need to cut contact and get a shit ton of boundaries set up because this isn't the way parents treat helpless damsels. This is controlling and insane, and it will only escalate. What happens when they start showing up to your job to check in on you? What happens when they start tailing your future fiance? What happens when they decide you aren't parenting your toddler right and try to pick her up from school? Recently, the chief of staff for my mayor was arrested for stalking. What did he do? Put an Apple tag on woman's car. There were some other things he did and was charged with, but the Apple tag sealed the deal on the stalking charge. Not the asshole. This level of helicopter parenting on an almost 30-yo is nuts. Have a sit-down meal with your parents at a nice restaurant. People are less likely to make a scene if they are somewhere nice or in public. Tell them that the tracker was out of line and it was stalker-level behavior. They need to be treating you like a capable adult. You don't need to list out accomplishments to them, as they already know what you have going on and have still chosen to behave this way, tracking your every move on their phones like creeps. Tell them if they can't start showing some respect for boundaries, you may need to go low contact until they can do so. If you do need to keep your word on this, please stick to it. This is not okay, and not how parents build a healthy relationship with their child. Maybe I'm TA, but I would ghost the out of my parents if they did this to me. Called me ungrateful. Why do they keep using that word? I do not think it means what they think it means. Not the asshole. They should be grateful you allow them in your life at all. After shenanigans like this, and with the level of intrusion they're attempting. This is insane stalkerish behavior. Since they won't set reasonable boundaries, you need to good luck keeping them in line. Not the asshole. Get a rouse. Restraining order of unusual size. Well, that's another episode of Am I the Asshole in the books. I really appreciate all of you who made it this far into the video. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, it would really help the channel out a lot if you gave the video a thumbs up, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.